Pinky up.
Oh, pinky up.
I can't even do that. I don't know how you did that.
It's dexterity.
Oh, that's good. I wish there was whiskey in that, to be honest with you.
I mean, there could be.
It is. It's
There
like
is.
afternoon right now, so I wish there was whiskey in it, but there's no whiskey in it. We had a little bit. I had a little bit last night.
We had a few Chardonnays.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was like white wine spritzers pretty much the entire night, right? Wasn't that what it was? Yeah, I think you were drinking mimosas most of the day.
Well, I was wanting a mojito because I just like to say mojito. But no.
No, it was pretty much bourbon.
Yeah.
That's all we drink. Yeah. So I'm here with, I always fuck up his last name, so I always fuck it up. Romesha. Say it.
Romesha.
Romesha. So it's an A. Got it. Okay. So I'm here with Clint Romesha, right?
That's me.
Yeah, I like it. Clint Romesha. That's him and everybody here associated with him. I just basically boiled it down to Clint, and then I would like slough off the last name and just go, No, I'm here with
That's what you
Clint.
sounded like last night.
Yes. Was I that bad? Was that bad?
No,
it wasn't
totally
bad.
fun.
So, come on, man.
What?
So, we're here with Clint Romesha, and we're going to discuss his book and what we feel is probably the most important book review we've ever done here at Black Rifle Coffee. It just so happens to be the only book review that we've done at Black Rifle Coffee, but
First and last place, all in the same moment.
First and last. We're honored to have Clint here on the Black Rifle Coffee set. We're basically going to talk about his book today. We're going to talk about the guys that you served with, and we're going to get into the question and answer session with. I know you hate to be called this, with an American hero. That's what we're going to do. How's that sound? I'm glad that you're.
Sounds like we got a good show.
Well, we burned it out with Drinking Bros last night.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Whew, man, we were talking like. How long were we talking? Like an hour and some change?
Yeah, I think we rolled a little over an hour for that podcast.
Yeah. Ross Patterson, we don't have him here to keep it rolling, so we're going to have to do the best that we can. So, first things first, what we got? We got the Red Platoon. How long has it been out?
It released May 3rd of this year, so we've been out for, I can't do math very quick, but a while.
Yep. And you've got it both in hardback, you've got it on Amazon.
Yep,
and
digital downloads, audio downloads. The paperback version probably is still another year away.
Okay.
But I don't know, I like the hardback. Who doesn't like the hardback?
Yeah, who doesn't like that hardback? So tell us a little bit about it. I mean, those of you that don't know Clint, so Clint is a Medal of Honor recipient.
Yes.
And when did you learn that you were going to be I guess it's not awarded. Is it awarded or
Yes.
earned? When did you learn that you had earned the Medal of Honor?
After the battle on October 3rd that day, it was kind of evident that it was a battle. I guess it still remains as the deadliest battle on U.S. forces in Afghanistan still to date. So we knew a lot of stuff was going to come out of it, but it's still back there in October of 2009. Didn't quite understand how much of history this might be. And initially I got told I got put in for Distinguished Service Cross. I'd already made the decision at that point, though, being just over 10 years in the Army. I was going to get out, transition, grow up, and figure out what I was going to be when I did that. So I was actually out of the Army for almost 2 years, and then out of the blue, I got a phone call from some number back in D.C., which
Did you answer it right away?
I looked at it like, who the heck do I know? I don't know anybody in D.C.
Right.
We'll entertain this one. So I answered the phone like an idiot. And of course, it's some full-bird colonel on the other end of the line, asked me to identify myself. The entire time I'm thinking, it's like, what the fuck did I do wrong? Fuck, what are the statutes of limitations for some of that stuff? And kind of running through your head. Like I said, I had no idea. Like I said, initially got told, put in for a DSC. Kind of figured this might be something about that. And all the colonel said was basically, I can't tell you what I'm calling you for, but we need you to come out here to D.C.
Why? So how come they couldn't tell you? Like, that's one question I was thinking of last night and I forgot to ask you.
I don't know.
Really?
He just said we couldn't tell you over the phone. We got to, we want you here in person to talk to you. And I'm like, well, crap, that sounds like entrapment to me. I get back there and they'll just arrest me on the spot. Not falling for this one again. So like I said at the time, I'd been working up in the oil fields of North Dakota. I didn't actually have any vacation days saved up yet, so I very kind of politely told the colonel that, yeah, I'll call you back, and I hung up on him. And then I waited about 3 weeks before I finally realized I should pull my head out of my butt and kind of figure out what's going on, and went out to DC, and it was the first time a lonely little staff sergeant got to meet by a full-bird colonel in dress blues, just standing there looking all pretty. He grabbed me up right from the airport, took me straight to the Pentagon. We go breezing right through security to the Pentagon, which I'm like, oh, this is freaking weird. No, maybe we're just going straight to jail at the bottom of this place. And all of a sudden, all these colonels, generals, everybody's kind of just there congratulating me. And it's like, I don't know what's going on, but all right, thanks. And I thought it was going to be one of these quick, go into room, I'd have a quick, attention to orders, read off a DSE citation real quick, hand it to me, shake some hands, take a picture, jump back on the plane the next day, go home, business as usual. But ended up going to this big conference room, sat down at this huge table where, of course, the Army's got a nice PowerPoint presentation going on. Everybody's surrounding the table. And as I sat down, I noticed there were 3 posters in front of me. One was of Sal Junta, the first living recipient from Afghanistan. The next one was Leroy Petrie, another living Afghanistan Medal of Honor recipient. And the third was Sergeant Sabo, Vietnam posthumous recipient. And as I sat down and looked, they're of course talking and briefing, and I'm sitting there like Charlie Brown in school. I'm not listening to a frickin' word they're saying. And finally, I slowly kind of look up and I give a timeout. I'm like, hey, timeout. What the hell is all this? And one of the colonels kind of looks over at me and he's like, well, what do you mean? And I kind of look back at him. I'm like, well, this is all Medal of Honor. I got told I got put in for a DSC, so I'm kind of confused here. What is this? And another general or whatever kind of looks over and he's like, well, you don't know? And I'm like, no, sir, I wouldn't fucking ask the question if I knew it. Which they don't quite have the sense of humor that I do, but I thought it was hilarious.
I think it's funny.
I still do. Still don't know what general that was, but sure we'll get yelled at later.
Right.
And he kind of looked back at me and he's like, well, you've been recommended for upgrade. Short of the president signing the award, you will be receiving the Medal of Honor. And when he said that, I kind of looked back down and looked back up and said, well, why me? And I still believe this to this day. I didn't do anything special. I did what I think a majority of any other person that would have been put in that situation would have done. The only thing that was different, I guess, was I was there at that time and it wasn't someone else.
Right.
I also looked at, there were 8 men that didn't come home that gave up more than was ever required of me. So, why not them? Why not Gallegos? Why not Kirk? You've got all that running through your mind. But very shortly after that, I went over to go meet General Foley, retired 3-star Vietnam recipient that runs Army Emergency Relief now. And I got to sit down for about 2 hours with him, just sitting there talking and basically asked him the same thing. I was like, sir, why me? And he kind of cut me off and he's like, Sergeant Romesha, that exact phrase comes out of every one of our mouths. But he's like, the medal comes from the guys on the ground that seen you do something and believe that you did something above and beyond. It's not politically pushed. It's not because some general said, let's turn this over, let's turn this on, let's do whatever. It's like the recommendation comes from those that seen you do what you did. And that really, kind of put things in perspective. And not too long after, I got to call up a couple of my buddies and kind of fill them in on what the heck was going on. And it was very reassuring to hear them say, absolutely, you deserved it. But as I look at it now, though, even though I got selected to receive the medal, to wear the medal, that thing's not mine at all. It's for all those guys I served with that day. It's for the guys and gals that have served for this country for years past, the ones that are still doing it right now, and unfortunately the ones that'll do it tomorrow and the next day.
Right.
That's what that medal means to me, and that's just honored to be able to wear it, but it's not mine.
It is nice to see, I guess, your humility and your approach to it, because it seems extremely genuine, and then the way that you present the information, especially it's a funny story. You blew off a DC number. You made a full bird colonel wait on the tarmac when you smoked a cigarette, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna let this guy. So it's a funny story, and the thing about Clint, and I'll say it to everybody out there, is like he's a soldier's soldier. So that's the one thing that I really love about hanging out with him is he really is a soldier's soldier. Like I spent most of my career around a bunch of dudes with huge egos, and not
That
SEALs,
was only because you're
not
doing
SEAls.
porn, right?
Yeah. You know, huge egos, and a lot of those guys, man, they just beat their chest, and they've got a lot of bark and not a lot of bite. It seems like you got probably a low bark and a big bite, I would imagine.
Well, it was, growing up where I did in California, my granddad was always, a real big person in my life. He was a World War II vet, was on Normandy Beach, survived the Battle of the Bulge, and granddad was a lot, just one of those guys. He never really said much, but whenever he talked, you always kind of listened to him, and that was one of his big pieces of advice. Is he'd tell all of us boys, hey, you don't have to go around telling people how good you are. Your actions will do that for you. Most of the people that have to tell you how great they are full of shit.
Right.
So I just shut up and hang out in the back and pounce when needed.
When did you join the Army?
I came in September of 1999.
Okay.
I was kind of tired of digging fence posts and milking cows for my dad, and
Right.
always kind of wanted to serve, but as soon as I could turn 18, so that was another interesting story that I always carried with me. My dad was a Vietnam vet. As soon as I graduated high school, I was still 17.
Really?
And so I tried to join the Army right away. And of course, since I was 17, you had to have a parent or guardian signature. So when I went up with my dad, after I realized that luggage, shit you not, luggage was my graduation present, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to stay in the house anymore, I told him, hey, look, I've already talked to the recruiter. I just need you to sign. And my dad kind of looked at me and said, no. And at that point, I had two older brothers. One was in the Army, one was in the Marines at that point. Like I said, dad had served, granddad had served. So it was kind of crucial, just a crucial blow to me when my dad's like, no, I'm not going to sign for you to go. And I kind of pissed and moaned for a minute. I was like,
Right.
why, Dad? And he very simply told me, he's like, look, Clint, it is, 1999, and we don't have a lot going on right now. But if you join the military, know that maybe not tomorrow and maybe not in 20 years, but the chance of you going over to do and see things that no man should, it's got to be your choice and your choice alone, and understand it before you go. And at the time, I was pissed. I was like, screw that. What, Dad? What do you know? I'm 17. I got a high school
Right.
diploma. So as soon as I turned 18, the day after I turned 18, I signed up. Dad supported.
Right.
He supported me still, but waited a couple of weeks before I could shipped out. And the rest kind of turned history. And now, in hindsight, it's the same advice I'd give my kids or anybody that ever does serve. That is something no one should ever have to do it. But if you're going to put the uniform on, you might have to understand it before you do.
Yeah, that's sage advice. That's a smart dad right there. Basically, it's your decision, but you got to make it.
He's also the same dad that told me the only reason I was alive, and gave me the birds and bees talk. Oh man, he's gonna get pissed at this one. The only reason I'm still alive in this world is because the condom broke. Don't think that stuff always works if you're gonna have sex, boy.
It's sage advice too. Like, it sounds like a pretty smart dad. Whereas, like, my dad was always telling me that I needed to go in the back door because that was the safe route. I didn't realize what he was talking about was the house, but it's a different story. So you joined in 1999, and did you get everything you wanted? Did you, when you joined the Army, were you like, hey, listen, this is the MOS that I want. This is exactly where I'm headed. Did you get everything you wanted?
My brother and my dad, well, both my brothers and my dad talked to me like, oh, whatever you do, don't go infantry. But I, being also kind of lazy, I decided to join and go armor right off the bat. And the only thing I really wanted to do was, like I said, I grew up in a very, very rural town. I never experienced much of the world. So I wanted to go to Germany. So my first enlistment took me to Germany, which that was cool for me. That's all I needed. I didn't care about the college money. I just wanted, one, to serve, and two, to go to Germany.
Right.
And it was in that, that time overseas, and that, I thought the military was going to be this thing I'll do for 4 years, kind of check the block, get the family card punched, come back home and figure out what I was doing. But I absolutely fell in love with it. I fell in love with the camaraderie, the guys you meet, the personalities you interact with, and it's that brotherhood like no other, that no matter what you're doing, no matter if you're right or wrong or indifferent, you're always going to have someone there to have your back.
Right.
Like I said, I've never seen that anywhere else other than the military. And like I said, what was going to be 4 years turned into almost 12 by the time I decided to transition out.
Yeah, and so after the 12 years, or I guess in 99 and then in 2009, so you've been in the mill 10 years by the time this happened. How many rotations had you already done to Iraq by that time?
I'd done two tours to Iraq at that point, a 13-month and a 15-month, and then it was kind of actually exciting to go to Afghanistan at that point.
Right.
Kinda getting the full circle. I'd coming in 99. I'd done 2 tours to Kosovo back when Kosovo was a huge rotation back in the day, back when someone was trying to distract people from blowjobs at the White House.
Yeah. The Kosovo rotations. Love to have those back. You know what they should have done? They should have been like, hey, if you go to Iraq for 10 months, we'll send you to Kosovo for 3, the last 3. That would have incentivized a few guys, actually.
We should probably pitch that.
Right? I like that. Yeah. So you're in the mill 10 years. You've done 2 rotations to Iraq before this even came around. So have you, and we talked a little bit last night that, I was interested to figure out, going back to, let's go back to your first engagement, like and what you learned in Iraq, and then what you took to Afghanistan, I guess, through your DNA was forged over there. And then when you went to Afghanistan, like, what was the most key, I guess, the key components to your combat leadership?
I think a lot of it, like I said, it was good to have the experience under my belt, the 2 deployments before Afghanistan. For me, being overseas was just kind of natural. The thought process, the idea of, when stuff started to kick off around you, you rely back on that muscle memory, that training. It was not try to do everything at once, but compartmentalize very quickly and systematically. And one of the crucial things that happened prior to the Afghanistan deployment was when we lost one of our great soldiers in Iraq, Sergeant Snell, who was just a phenomenal dude. Like, he was the all-star, the best soldier you could ever hope for, and unfortunately he'd gotten killed just outside of Baghdad by a sniper. And I mean, he was, like I said, the heart and soul of the platoon. And for him to always be alert, always be positive, to have him taken from us, that's when I got some of the best advice going through my military career, was from a First Sergeant Olvera, who let me know very simply, this is combat. We can be the best everything. You can have the best equipment, the best guys, the best situation, and bad shit's still going to happen. It's what do you do after the fact?
Right.
I had one of my great team leaders as I first came in, Sergeant Gariantes. Always had really great mentors around me, and always tried to listen to them. Sergeant Gariantes, who also passed away in Iraq in 2004. He taught me simple things of leadership. Is the best leaders are the ones that'll sit there and change their perspective and personality for all the soldiers under them, instead of expecting all the soldiers under them to change for them. To teach, treat each one as an individual.
Right.
And always tried to carry that forward. And by doing stuff like that, when you do get in those situations and your guys look for guidance, they know you've got, the mental capacity to sit there and pull and draw from their strengths and weaknesses to push through something.
Well, that's interesting. And so your first rotation in Iraq, was it the invasion or just after the invasion?
Just after the invasion. I was one of the lucky guys that was over in Second ID in Korea when we got activated, thrown over there during that 2004 to 5 time frame.
And that was like right in between Ramadi and Fallujah, right?
That was our. We were attached to the first of the 506 back then, and we helped support the invasion back into recapturing Fallujah at that time.
So the first time you dropped into country, I mean, you'd been in the Army since 1999, and you go to Iraq in 2005, so you're, 6 years in the middle at that time. What were some of the things that you were not prepared for?
It was really not prepared to just experience that first. You read about it, you hear about other people talking about it, but the first time you really get shot at, for me, was, just instantly put things into perspective and reality, that you can have all the armor around you, you can have your body armor on you, But when you know someone had you in sights and they either jerked the trigger or something, you knew that your life was just a millimeter away from not being there anymore. And you realize that also in that moment, that gives you a chance. Instead of, there's a couple of choices. You can freeze and dwell on that moment, or you can react and take advantage of their missed opportunity. And I was normally pretty fortunate always to be able to try and take advantage of the situation.
Right. Yeah, you know, you talked about it, we talked a little bit about it, Range 15. I think everything, you know, my experience, I guess, everything happened. I honestly didn't even know what was happening. I didn't know. It was like this. I had this like image in my mind from like training with like blank adapters and shit. It's like super sick. And then I was wearing a ball cap. It was actually a white ball cap trucker hat that said "Hang Loose" on the front. It didn't take me long to get a helmet on actually, and I didn't take it off. So it seemed super cool, you know. Like I seemed like I was super cool, and then I realized like actually there's really not nobody looks super cool. Actually, nobody looks super cool. The coolest guy I ever saw in combat was an agency guy. He was wearing blue jeans, and I thought that was pretty rad. Like he was wearing blue jeans and shooting an M4. I was like, that's pretty sick. It's like, that's pretty cool. I like that. That's awesome. But
did it have the V or the U cut in the crotch? I mean, it's all about comfort on those.
So you're 2004, 2005, and then you did another rotation. So you came back. How long were you back?
We were back, 9-10 months, and then went back over for that 2006 to 8.
Dude, that is a long haul, man. So you were only home for. Did you guys have a kid by the time that?
My oldest daughter was born in Germany. Shoot, right before my second Kosovo deployment, and then, like I said, I was chasing money and bonuses and went to Korea to help support, you know, thinking I'll be over there for a little bit, come home. And I did 15 months over there before we actually shipped off to Iraq the first time.
So you'd already done 2 rotations, and then how long have you been in Afghanistan when
October 3rd kicked off? We were there just around the three month mark.
Okay.
You know, we really did kind of luck out. Sergeant Kirk just came from 173rd, came to our platoon about 6 months before we shipped out, and Kirk was operating just in that exact same area of Nuristan. Right. And that was crucial to have a fresh team leader that just came off deployment that was sitting there, you know, telling us, hey, this terrain sucks. We got to be physically fit. We've got to do, you know, lots of angle fire. We got to get guys used to angle fire. We got to make sure our weapons mounts are adapted for extreme, you know, 90 degree. Yeah. And so that was really crucial for our platoon to have that firsthand account, and for Kirk to tell us, you know, hey, where we're going really sucks. You know, we could sit there and watch all the PowerPoint presentations and the S2 briefs of here's the location, here's what's been going on, here's the enemy activity. But to have, like I said, that firsthand account, you know, for him to sit there and be able to take the new guys in, especially as a team leader, was just crucial. And Kirk was, man, that dude was just a warrior, because he came right back from just a previous deployment. He didn't have to deploy with us right away.
Right.
He ended up waiving his dwell time just to come with us. And, you know, it's one of those what if things. You know, if he wouldn't have done that, he would have gotten in country after October 3rd would have happened.
Right.
But that's the kind of just phenomenal soldier and leader he was. He was going with his guys that he trained with, and he was going to lead them over there. And he did that on a daily basis, time and time again.
So 3 months, and you guys were there. And then when you first got there, who were you ripping out with?
We were ripping out with, oh crap, now you got me on the spot because I'm trying to remember units because they all kind of blend together when you start ripping. They're out of, Fort Polk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
part of the 10th Mountain guys.
Who were they? Okay, part 10th Mountain. And then you had, so where does the book start? So when you start?
So the book really kind of starts with kind of a snapshot of kind of the start of that morning before the enemy contact. And then we kind of flip back and we talk about the personalities and bringing and building the team and building that platoon together before going to country. You know, our platoon, Red Platoon, was a very tight-knit group of guys, like most platoons are. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it was personalities like Kirk, having that prior experience. Guys like Gallegos that I just happened to, when I reclassed from tanks to scouts, we were in the same reclass school together back in 2005, and then reunite back in 2009 after separating past, but picking up again, and being able to, you know, pull him to platoon, telling platoon sergeant that kid's a good leader and we need him over here. Some of the average Joe shenanigans of Mace and Copus, and kind of the trouble you get into right before deployments, to kind of really give the readers a snapshot of,
Right.
you know, we come from all different walks of life. We're not 10 feet tall and bulletproof. We're not all Navy SEALs.
Right.
We all have our shortcomings, our faults, but, you know, when push comes to shove, you have each other, and that teamwork and that effort together accomplishes so much more than just being one person trying to take on the world.
Right. Well, I think that's like one thing that you talked a little bit about last night was just the soldiers themselves, and this is really a book about soldiering, right?
Yes.
It's about soldiers, it's about soldiering, it's about the heart and soul of the military male, the military, I guess, male or female, I don't know. I guess it's the heart and soul of the soldier. So I'm really excited to read it. You know, you sent it down to me a couple of weeks ago. I've been busy, so I'm going to read it and definitely give everybody my feedback on Black Rifle. And hopefully what we'll do is we'll bring you back for a couple different sessions. We'll talk about yours, and then we'll talk about Matt's. I'm sure he's going to write a book too. And Matt's might be a little bit more different than yours. I doubt it.
No, I mean, there's lots of dick and ball jokes.
Yes, a lot of dick and ball jokes. Well, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah,
definitely appreciate it. Get it on Amazon. It might come out in paperback in the next 6 months, so you said, to a year?
Probably about another year out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Might come out in paperback. You've got it on Amazon. Is it on iTunes?
iTunes.
Where
Barnes
else?
and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Books A Million.
Is it in airports? Can you see it?
I've seen it in a few, but it just depends on. I can't remember. I don't know.
Right. Just Google
Just
it.
look.
Just
Google
Google
it.
it. Yeah, Google it and buy it.
Google it.
And then I'll finish up with my summary on it too. So thanks for watching, everybody. And I guess thanks for watching, and stay tuned for our next book review, which will be Matt Best's Sexual Exploits. So we're going to go from like a really good book to just super nasty shit. I look forward to doing that one with you guys. Cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, right on.